What is up, Rad Potential YouTube? Welcome to the video today. See what I did there? Reversed it. Didn't say today's video. Video today. So, been a lot of new people. My name's Eric. I am the guy here at the Rad Potential YouTube channel. There's also my buddy Justin, who occasionally uploads some videos. He works on BMWs and stuff, so fits right in. He's trying to move down here. It's going to be sick once we get together. So, I have already started kind of working on this. I had to replace the harmonic balancer on my Jeep earlier today, which was kind of a debacle, but here's the old one. It started to separate and was looking like it was going to pitch the belt, so I was happy to have caught it before it really wrecked everything, and I didn't have to buy a belt. But I started pulling some of the basic stuff off of here. Really nothing crazy in depth, but whenever I got to the catch can, I figured I ought to start filming because I picked up the catch can and literally couldn't get it to the trash can fast enough. I mean, this thing was full. I mean, still dripping oil. It dripped more oil out of the fitting when I took it off than it did whenever I actually lifted the catch can up and opened the valve. So, make sure to empty your catch cans, people, because this one had it had fallen off down in here. It's usually this kit mounts it here to the ABS, and it had fallen and was kind of resting there. And you can see all of this oil residue in here was most likely oil getting blown out of that filter because I got oil all over me and all over everything, which is no bueno. So, if you've never taken apart anything on an FD RX7, depending on your intercooler setup, the first thing I would say to do is get your intercooler out of the way. One of the worst things, in my opinion, when you look in an engine bay, especially if they have a V-mount or something like that, typically intercoolers attract tools, so you end up setting stuff on them. And what will happen is, unlike this one's in really good shape, you'll bang up these fins on the front and on the back, and I just prefer to get it out of the way right away. That way you don't tear it up, put it somewhere. I got mine over here on the fridge. Put it in the back of the car, put it wherever it is just so you don't bang it up. Moving forward from there, in most cases, on a right-hand drive, or on a left-hand drive FD, on a left-hand drive FD, I would personally get down underneath the passenger floorboard, pull the ECU line, the ECU plug from the ECU, and fish the harness out, and then pull the engine with the intake on. Now, being that this car is right-hand drive, I didn't really know how all that stuff was situated. I assume it's just the opposite. I looked down in this hole over here, and it's just quite a real mess. And it doesn't entirely look the same as the USDM cars, and this ABS unit is just horribly in the way. So I didn't really feel like fishing the harness all the way out of there. Plus, the catch can, all this other junk going on, I was going to have to pull stuff out just to get to that. An unorthodox way for me to take it apart is pulling the intake, pulling the harness off the engine, and leaving the ECU engine harness in the car whilst you remove the engine. So, to point out a few key things on your deal, okay, when you pull the upper intake manifold off, you're going to have your air temp sensor on the bottom. Your BAC, or your idle air control valve, is on the back and on the side, and the TPS sensor is on the back. So all of that stuff in your car, right-hand drive or left-hand drive, is going to line up with plugs right through here. So be very careful when you lift up the upper intake manifold because you'll either rip the wires out. Just be mindful that they're there. You have to kind of hold it up and unplug everything, and it can be somewhat of a pain. So keep that in mind. Fortunately, this car has the AST here, and we don't have the big plastic stuff going on. And then I noticed too, crazy. I get down under here, jack this car up, and I'm like, what the heck hit this AC condenser? And then I realize it's just being floppy. So it's supposed to mount to this bolt here on the left side of the radiator. And then there's a stud or a bolt that would mount this to the frame back there. So we got to figure something out for that, at least to make sure it's secure and not floppy in the future. Another tech tip, pro tip, always tape off intake manifold, turbos, stuff like that, the whole deal. You'll notice I don't have the intake manifold taped off currently, but I did just pull the intake manifold and catch can out of the way. So I have a piece of cardboard that I've cut out that fits over that. But tape your turbo off. The worst thing you can do is drop something in your turbo, drop something in your engine you didn't want to be in there, and tear stuff up when you put it back together. So this engine's coming out and coming apart, so it's no big deal. So we're going to rebuild this engine at a later date, but for now, we're going to protect everything. So I'm going to go ahead and basically call it a night for tonight, but you guys are going to come back, or I guess after this clip, y'all are going to come back to see this thing just come out of the car. And any other stuff I'll point out when we get to it. And there should be a fairly quick video. If there's anything hard, I'll point it out. I don't know that I've pulled an FD engine in detail as of late on the channel. I've definitely pulled FD engines before on the channel, but it would have been a few years ago. I'll show you guys how to get the pull style clutch apart, and then any sort of issues I have pulling apart this fuel system. It looks like we've got an aftermarket rail, looks like full function kit kind of, or something close to it with the stacked fuel rails in there. So I believe these cars had injectors that were built into the rail, kind of like a does a SR20 have those, right, where the injectors are built in, versus these, which looks like it has injector dynamics like ID1000s or something in there maybe, and those are where they're not built into the rail at all. So there's got to be technical terms for both of those things, but that's what I'm saying for now. So next steps from here is drain all the fluids, make a big mess, and I'm going to do that tomorrow. So let's get to it. Rotary engine quick tip. Pretty much every single rotary engine on the center iron at the bottom below your oil filler is going to be a 12, 14, assorted some size bolt into the center iron. That is your coolant drain. When you have your coolant drain bolt popped out, as soon as you release the vacuum suction from the coolant system, all of your coolant can nice and neatly 100% miss the pan and drain out back here, versus pulling a radiator line. Tip number 1 for this video. What's up, guys? Rotary FD engine removal tech tip number 2 coming from below the car. An FD RX7 has a pull style clutch, thus needing a retainer clip in order to hold the throwout bearing within the clutch, such that when you pull it doesn't come out. So in order to remove it, you guys probably won't be able to see this because it's really hard to do lights and cameras and stuff at the same time in a really confined space. So if you can see anything up in there, if I have it to where you can see it, I'll put arrows and text on the screen. But there is a collar sticking out of the clutch in the front of the throwout bearing. It's got a bunch of little tiny fingers on it. That collar needs to be removed but stay with the clutch itself. The throwout bearing will come out of it. So how this works, you need 2 screwdrivers. You're going to take 1 screwdriver and you're going to pry the entirety of the throwout bearing into the clutch itself. So you're going to push the whole throwout bearing forward with 1 screwdriver. The second screwdriver you're going to push on the so once you have the throwout bearing pushed in, you're going to take the second screwdriver and wedge it between the throwout bearing and that collar, and then you're going to twist the second screwdriver and it should push the collar, like hold it in, and pop the throwout bearing out. So as you twist it, you're going to release the first screwdriver so the throwout bearing can come out. It's kind of a complicated process. It should not, and I repeat, it should not take a lot of effort. It should just pop right out. If you're having to force it, if it's being a real pain, you're probably doing something wrong. So once I get this apart, I'll show it to you in more detail if I didn't already put the clip in after I had it apart while I was talking. But like I said, don't force it. You can break it. I've had to pull a trans a few times because the clip was all jacked up on my part. So we're not going to mess this one up. We're going to pop this one right out. We'll show you. Boom. We're out. Sick! Like I said, nearly impossible for me to actually show you how that's done. But we have thus disconnected it. Here's what it looks like from the bottom when it's disconnected. Hopefully there's enough light making it past and the camera's not all blown out and all this other jets that you guys can see that. So see, the rusty part is now pulled away. There's a little groove in the end of that rusty part. That is what is within the actual clutch blade, little fingery stuff, which you can see sticking out of the pressure plate there. FD engine removal, tech tip number 2. What's up, guys? I work on cars. It's great. We have successfully removed the engine from the FD. No, this is not a motor. Electric things have motors. Cars that are combustion have engines. This is what it looks like up here in the sky. Listening to some Steelers wheel in the sky. Or no, that's not the right one. What the Steeler? Who just wheel in the sky? Keeps on. That's Journey, ain't it? 100% removing the ginormous turbo off the side of your engine would probably make this way easier to get out. I fought these dumb hockey puck engine mounts, which are like super thin, and I'm not too keen on these because, well, that one's destroyed, but I mean, this is literally all it is. And they were just a real pain to get the bolts out, so keep in mind that I'm probably going to request some fresh engine mounts for this guy because that one's chotched and that one's probably equally as chotched. The AC compressor, FD engine removal tech tip number 3. Leave the AC compressor mounted until you have the engine raised up, and that'll make getting the AC compressor bolts out 5 million times easier. You don't have to like yank the whole motor, don't have it off the trans yet. But just get it to where you've raised the engine up a little bit. You could probably pull it off the trans. It really won't matter that much. But just be aware of your the AC lines. Go ahead and pull it forward a little bit. Pop that thing right off the side. So this is great. Pumped. I think it probably had, what time is it now? 9 something. So I got done with dinner like 7:30 or so and came out here. So about 2 hours worth of time from the hour I spent yesterday. Really not going full tilt crazy fast on this guy. Just kind of taking my time, making sure I don't break anything. So not my first rodeo, but rodeo nonetheless. So I'm going to go ahead, pull this guy over here, make some sprays on the bench. And this thing's going to get put right here on the workbench for now. The next engine that's going in it will be delivered on Saturday, which would be awesome. We're also getting the white turbo first gen brought over here so we can play with it for a little bit, show you guys some sweet videos and stuff comparing. We're going to compare a turbo stock, bone stock turbo 2 swap. So we're talking 7 pounds of boost or 8 pounds of boost, whatever it is. S5 turbo 2 swap. No porting, no nothing, unopened keg. It's got a Haltech. It's in a first gen. It rips. We're going to compare that build directly to my 12A Bridgeport. So, full bridge 12A. They probably both make about the same horsepower. I mean, if you think about it, that full bridge, probably making like maybe 210 to the tire, a little over 200. I bet that stock Turbo 2 is probably making 200-ish to the tire, you know, on a good day. It does have a front mount and you know, it just has stock FC coils, nothing crazy. So it's not like it's turned up. Bigger injectors, but not like it's super turned up. So I'm excited to do some side-by-side comparisons with those and see how it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and get this beast setting down. I didn't really want to make a video like all time-lapsed out, you know, right, with all sorts of crazy stuff. Figured I'd do more of a tips and tricks video. Y'all have seen time-lapses of engines coming out. This is what it looks like suspended in the air above the car. The car's doing a wheelie. Use a jack to hold your trans up. If you have a guy, or if you have a friend who likes to drive his car a lot with oil leaks and stuff, you're going to be dirty when you take your car out. I think I got stuff on my forehead. It's all down me, all down my back. I am super pumped to be able to strip this engine bay out a little bit more, clean everything, really freaking good. Hopefully the paint is in really good shape, but looks like the firewall's really nice. Looks like this stuff's been repainted, the strut towers and whatnot. So we're going to do our best to get some nice fresh gloss black on the strut towers and frame rails up. Not going to super crazy go through anything up here, but the main action areas back there that are going to be really hard to paint and clean and do whatever once you have the engine in there. And then once he gets the V-mount kit and stuff made and all that, that'll fill up and make a lot of this look nice. So super stoked to be this far along on day 2 or 3 of it being here, and I guess day 2 or 3 of it being in the shop with the Jeep being broke. So with that, guys, thank you guys very much for watching. As always, drop a comment below for any question you have, RX7, Rotary, car, Rad Ranch related. I'll do my best to answer them. And with that, I am going to set this thing on the workbench, go take a shower, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Keep it rad. We'll see you in the next one. Hey, for those of you who stuck around this far in the video, look at this engine mount. That thing is looking like some ET astronaut food looking stuff right there. Look at that. Look at this side. It's like some candle wax looking stuff. It's got all sorts of lava characteristics. Old and busted. Seemingly less old and busted. This is interesting stuff. Smells like coolant, leaks, messes. And it's got excessive intake. I guess that's why it has all 4 injectors in the intake manifold. Turbos. Yep, alright. Thanks for watching.